Robert, you cannot film a feature film in 6 days. I go, yes, we can.
It's the night before the premiere, and we're still editing. Yeah, it's crazy.
I really just love creating art. And I think that what Posada is going to do in the long run, in the greater picture, is it's always going to be the first thing that people saw that I made as film, even though it's not technically the first film I made, because I did Last Gasp first. But it was the first thing that people saw. It's the first premiere. It's the first thing that was on YouTube. It's the first thing that will be entered into film festivals. It's the first real thing that people will recognize. Genuinely, when I came into film, I didn't really know much. I knew what I liked. As a director, I knew what connection and acting was, because I've done that for 20 years, and that was never my issue. The storytelling wasn't my issue. It was what film is as its own art form, and what a bokeh is, when I want something blurred out, when I want to fade in, what I want on a dolly track, what needs to be on a gimbal. 3 or 4 years ago, I would have never known any of those things. The world's worst cinematographer and have a 6K camera, and you're still gonna have the worst movie. But if you're the best cinematographer or really love what you're doing and you do it on a phone, it's gonna look better than what that person did on a 6K. 36 shot taking, boys, take 2. Sorry, Frida, that was really shaky. Action. First of all, they won't believe that it only took us 6 days to film.
Yeah, there's so much stuff still to be done. But an American Posada comes out tomorrow. It does.
They won't believe that it only took me 4 days to write it.
So here we are. It is 11:46, and I am about to watch hopefully the last cut of the movie before we put subtitles on. Yes, because we have to subtitle it still. So Gio's actually been working on the translations right now, and then he's been working on them since yesterday. It's crazy. So I'm gonna watch this right now, take some notes, then send them over to Frida. It has been 4 hours of sleep a night for the last maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's been crazy.
They won't believe that these actors were first-time actors or, stage actors going into film.
The most challenging was keeping a straight face, as in no chattering, when I was really cold. So I had to, once the cameras were rolling, I had to pretend like it wasn't cold and like I wasn't just shivering seconds before that.
It was very, very cold. And we were outside in dresses and tights.
It's very cold. Filming at night.
I should have had you grab me a sweater.
It is almost 2:15, 2:20, 2:30 in the morning. We just finished up credits. And that happens to be the hardest thing about film, people, is credits. Because people cry if you get one thing wrong. And it makes sense because you work so hard on it and that's what you wait for. But yes, credits.
My name is Colton Dennis. I'm the executive director of the Merced County Arts Council and the Multicultural Arts Center. Well, I like that he is so creative, nonstop. He's got all these things just going all the time. And he's so all-inclusive. He's got the LGBTQIA plus community, he's got the BIPOC community, and he tries to create stories that includes all those people. And he is open to what's happening not only in Los Banos, but all of Merced County and beyond, which is really cool.
It is premiere morning, and I went to bed, God, at 5-ish, 4-ish, 3-ish, I don't know. But it's 9 in the morning now, or 8 in the morning now. Whatever, it's really early. The one with subtitles is finally done, though.
I'm a friend of Robert's, and I know his creativity and his energy, and he can't be still. He always has to do something.
So I'm back in my office. It is 10:51 in the morning. Frida's still working on subtitling, and I'm about to go to a film festival for Wonderland. It's a script festival for Wonderland, a script that I wrote for a TV pilot that we're hoping to get produced.
I was born in Hayward, California, and I lived in Hayward till about 5 or 6, and then we moved to Castro Valley, California, and that is kind of, well, I mean, that is where I grew up and formulated into an adult. Where I grew up, arts was a big part of the school. So, like, I had the privilege of getting a little bit of white privilege in growing up, and I've been able to acknowledge that because, like, I went to one of the Golden State Star schools when I was in elementary school, Proctor Elementary. Proctor Elementary, how American. And, like, so I went there. Before I went there, I went to Catholic school. So even when I was living in Hayward, my parents were very invested in making sure that I had a really good education. And I would say the arts started in the Catholic school, and it started not even from anything art-wise. And this is kind of a funny story that I don't really tell very much, but now the world can hear it. I was in pre-kindergarten, and I was going to Catholic school. I definitely was the only brown kid in my Catholic school class. Everyone was pretty much very white. I'm Native American. I'm Ojibwe Indian, my tribe, North Dakota, the Turtle Mountain Reservation. But I convinced my kindergarten teacher I knew how to do a rain dance, and I taught them. They made me a big headdress and everything, and I taught them this fake dance. And I think that's when my parents knew, oh yeah, he's gonna do something in the arts or become a cult leader. Wow. Daisy, you're right. I'm dyslexic, and I had ADHD, have ADHD. And so I always got split off into the special ed room for those special hours. And I think that is where I embraced a lot of my art and my creativity, because I wasn't ashamed of reading there or sounding not intelligent or stuttering or whereas in like the primary classroom I felt very like isolated and alone. And I think that goes into a lot of what made me want to entertain.
It's 12:21. I'm still waiting for the final one with subtitles. I'm also still in this movie festival thing. It's really cool. Everyone's very collaborative. Did you know that we've had the biggest decision of today has nothing to do with the movie and everything to do with the free food we're giving out?
Challenging has definitely been just getting everything ready that you need, because we have a very small production team. So I have to deal with props, I have to make sure that we have everything set up for the set, and that was definitely challenging in the short period of time that we had.
My name is David Fernandez, and I was the only production assistant on American Posada.
I wanted to do something vintage, or that had that vintage feel. So I knew that black and white would be able to do that in the perspective of an audience member. Anytime you see anything in black and white, you instantaneously go, oh, okay, that's old. However, I have a really, really good creative partner in Frida, the editor. And the difference between a lot of directors and a lot of people is usually like you get the editor towards the end or in the middle. I started Posada. Like Frida was like one of the first people to read the first 3 lines of Posada.
The most challenging experience with Robert was this film. He told me out of nowhere, hey, I want to do this Christmas film. I was like, oh, sounds cool. I thought he was going to film it in like a couple months. Like if we were going to do this for next year. And then like a week later, he's like, oh, I finished the script and we're going to film. And I was like, oh, well, that's great. So I was like, of course he's going to film in like a month and I'm going to have to edit it in a week. But I mean, I haven't slept. That's the most challenging part. I'm trying to get this right. It's really important for me, and I want to make his dream of this film come true. I would say that I think this has been one of the best things I've ever edited in my life, just because of the story. It means a lot to me.
So I started this project with her knowing that she was going to be the main editor and that we were going to kind of work on this together. And in many aspects, we spent hours talking about this. We spent hours and hours talking about black and white, sepia, burnt tone. I've always been inspired by evolution and exploring in theater. I think that when you do Oklahoma the same way 900 times, there's no artistic value in that anymore. There's no more learning.
Yeah, I mean, I should be getting ready, but I'm not, because there's so much other things to do. And I still have to download this movie and upload it to a drive before I can even leave this house.
COVID-19 was probably the greatest threat. If one of us tested positive, or if like any signs, it would shut down everything. And we had a premiere on December 18th, and we started filming the second week of November, so there was no real wiggle room. Because usually, like, on a movie, your obstacles are like finance or like casting. And so there was one casting. I didn't cast an Alma until like 3 days before we started filming, and that it was one of the hardest roles to find, and we were so lucky to find Lily. But because of the schedule, the person playing that had to be able to meet these days. And we had Jax from Colorado, and all these schedule pieces had to be put in place. So if we would have had a push production, it would have been that would have been it. So COVID-19 was definitely the thing that threatened us the most.
So as I am sitting here, I just found out that my first project, Last Gasp, just got into another film festival. Also, we just found out that American Posada is competing to be in this film festival as well, which is it's crazy. It's crazy. I did cut my hair. I am almost on my way to the theater. It is just we're going to be a little late.
But I worked with a lot of film students, and I worked with a lot of people, and the same thing kept on happening. They made me feel like film was an elitist environment where things had to be done a certain way. And maybe it's because they were film students. There is this tendency that film is done this way. You have craft services, you do this, like you do this, you like, this is my understanding perspective of film, and this is the way it always must be. This is the right way. That the right way is this Eurocentric white way of doing things. I don't want to create that way, because those rules box you in, and they keep you in a place where you are now telling a story from a person of color's point of view using white people or Eurocentric rules. That doesn't work. And for someone who grew up dyslexic, brown, Afrocentric, didn't really know he was not white until 5th grade, those rules work against me. They don't work for me. A lot of people go, well, why don't you just write a script and send it to someone? And they're going to give you money to write your script. Yeah, that works if you're great at grammar and you fit inside these Eurocentric boxes of the way it's supposed to be done. I don't. I have horrible dyslexia. I have a great husband who can edit and helps me, but a lot of the stuff that I do is orally and visually presented. 3:45, and it's done. The final project with the subtitles, everything's done. I just downloaded it. Now I have to upload it to the HDMI stick, the USB stick, to take with me. But yeah, it will be ready to be shown tonight. So American Posada, for me, will always be that stepping stone of, you can do it. But it also holds true to my values and holds true to my art and holds true to what I believe. It's, a cast of BIPOC people. It's a cast of white people. It's a story that connects to a white community and a Latin community. It really, it's American in the best way.
Teatro Real es una película.
We want to see what an American posada means. We know what a Mexican posada is, but we're not quite sure what American posada means. And this is a movie, and so we're very excited to be watching a movie.
So the support from the public will be the greatest after the viewing tonight.
The story of the Posada is definitely about love and tradition and instilling values. I think over time we not everyone continues the same traditions, and especially as family members either pass away or as things move on and people kind of do their own thing, not all traditions are held together. And I think the tradition of the Posada is always that glue.
I just hope that whoever sees it really enjoys it and sees that we poured our hearts and soul into it, and the message that it brings to everyone is a beautiful message.
I hope this project, well, everybody hopes that any film they're in does extremely well. But more than that, I hope that it speaks to someone who sees it. And I hope that it makes them appreciate the community that they're part of. Because this movie is so much about community and about that community being inclusive of everyone, regardless of your background.
I would say originally I didn't even know what it meant, Posada, but now after the movie and meeting Robert and Gio and all the amazing actors, I would say that it means family, and family is something very important to me.
The exposure that American Posada will bring, the ability of a story and the connection to everyone will validate people's ideology of. So in I guess in film and theater and everything, you're always reaching for this validation of, you are an artist. Like, you are a filmmaker. You are, because it is one of those things, like everyone and their mother has their own cell phone now, and everyone's creating, but like there's this level of respect and understanding that I think that American Posada will bring to us, to me, but also I think to this community, because for so often the Central Valley is just thought of as a place where there's cows, cheese, and cotton, and you can get really good catfishing, both on social media and in the canals, but it's not like, wow, they make amazing art. And I think that this is going to be one of those things that will help.
I didn't know it was going to be this fancy.
Yeah.
I knew they were doing a movie here.
Yeah.
I just thought it was going to be just, casual
Another screening,
movie.
yeah.
Because we've had that before. We've had people who do
Yeah.
screenings here. And so
we did.
that was it. And then they started rolling out the
A
red
literal
carpet.
red carpet.
And then everyone started coming in like the 3-piece suits with bow ties and everything like that. And it was like, oh no. I brought a Christmas sweater with cats on it.
Because we do have amazing art in the Central Valley. And the more people notice that, the more people we can connect with that community. I think that will also be a stepping stone, not only for me, but a stepping stone for this community. So yeah. So in 10 years, I see myself remaking American Posada with every scene that I want, probably on a red camera with a bunch of money. But in all seriousness, I really just think that American Posada is going to live in this sphere of it inspired this community to go forth and create more. Because I know that people will see this and they will go, if he can do it, we can do it. And I think if I inspire 5-10 more people to create something, that will be worth it. Yeah.
I have the pleasure of saying that is a wrap on American Posada.
let you go, baby. I just wanna tell you that. No, 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 no. Yeah. All of my friends say, girl, you better take care, 'cause that man is trouble, you best beware. And though deep down I know I might be headed for teardrops,
Moana's coming through.